Hello everyone and welcome to another WARNO Army General preview video. And today we're gonna compare it to the Steel Division 2 Army General, which this system obviously bases on, and why I believe that the WARNO Army General is a lot better and a much better concept than the Steel Division 2 one. And we're gonna make it out on 5 bigger points, and then I'm also gonna talk about a bit of a wish list from what I want to see in Army General in the future, and how I believe Eugen can still improve on the concept further. So without further ado, let's go into point number 1, and that you already can see in front of you. It is the general UI of the game, which is just so much cleaner and clearer than the Steel Division 2 one. As in WARNO, you have simple numbers over your unit's 3 simple numbers that make out what the unit does. Unlike the in-game UI, the UI here is pretty clear. Up above, you see how much stress each unit already has. Movement also with the 2-color system really clean, so that you know from where you can still attack, and so on. And the reinforcement menu is also cleaned up a lot. Same goes for the point system. Everything here is super clean. I like the losses one as well, compared to Steel Division, where if you have a look here, Steel Division, it is all pretty gray. The color scheme, the green in WARNO Army General is something that is debatable as well, but it's not a great color scheme in Steel Division. It is a lot of numbers that you have trouble to understand, which we will get further into in another point as well. And yeah, the movement is not as clean, and a lot of other things here on the interface are also not as great. And yeah, that brings us to point number 2, which is also much cleaner in WARNO, and that one is auto-resolve. As auto-resolve in WARNO functions really easy. You have your unit's composition, you see up top the maximum points that the enemy potentially could muster if they bring the biggest combination of forces together. That is not the number that they will have, but that they could have. So you know what you have to consider, and then you get a clean number already beforehand. And when you press auto resolve, the results also make sense. The outcome also makes sense. You get a calculation of the force modifier. Enemy here at 5 strength, we had 17. That's a 3-to-1. That 3-to-1 goes -1, so 2.1. Then you also get shown we had heavy tanks, we had air support, extra modifiers here. There is another modifier that tells you you're unlucky or lucky, and that might give a +5 modifier to you or the enemy as well, to give it a bit more chance, but not too much. And then you see down here easy tables to understand how fatigue and how losses were calculated. And down here the losses pretty easily to see as well. I would like if you could have a detailed one here to tell you which tanks exactly got lost and which units and vehicles and so on. But overall, a really clear one. If you have a look on Steel Division 2 now, it's the complete opposite. Like, the auto resolve, you have little idea what the numbers mean. You have all these turns, and the swings can be so wild. Like, you can lose against a single anti-air battalion with your tanks because they have weirdly high numbers in some aspect that you just don't see, that never gets explained to you. Auto-resolve in Steel Division 2 is completely unreliable in Army General, which leads to you always playing every single battle, no matter how bad the battle is. And that drags out the campaign. And whilst in WARNO, you can, if you don't want to fight the normal fights, you can just leave that to auto-resolve and then focus on the big, flashy ones that are actually cool to fight, which makes the campaign so much smoother, so much easier to play in that regard, because you don't have to fight every battle, and you know when you press auto-resolve, it's not gonna be a super far-flung one. Obviously, if you want to protect specific units, you still are better off playing, just like in a Total War game, for example, but the auto-resolve does function, and it's a big improvement over the Steel Division 2 system. So let's get to point number 3, which is the battle creator for battles which you decide to play in tactical battles. As when you decide to go into a tactical battle, you now have a really nice and clean interface as well. First of all, you get shown over here how many deployment points this will bring, how many deployment points per minute you will get. And then when you click on tactical battle, you can, just like in Steel Division, choose who gets to the AI, though it's way easier here with these clicks. The UI here pretty smooth. Might be one of the reasons why at the beginning it will only be 2-player co-op, because the UI currently is better fit for that. And then you have up here, which is the cool part, the decision to decide how exactly the forces are split off. So if you give 3 units to the AI, but you feel like your 2 are the way more important one, you can still take more income and so on away from the AI. In Steel Division, you have to be a lot more direct, because every unit that the AI has gives it that percentage of the income per minute. You can still shuffle around units, but you can do that in WARNO as well, between formations. Like if AI unit has the unit you want, you can still shuffle that into your force in WARNO as well. And the direct split there is just making it with using the AI a lot harder, plus the AI is weaker. But yeah, the into combat part of the game already is so much smoother. And then in battle, which is part number 4, you have also a lot of cool advantages now in comparison to Steel Division. As in WARNO, the whole thing is always, first of all, map variety. Map variety is given as each hex has a different map recut and layout. They really have used the map assets they have well. Whilst in Steel Division, you so often play on the same map with the same layout, because every map just has one single layout, and you play it time and again. Map size also fits better. They are, the recuts are all similar in size, so you don't have those massive maps that you sometimes have in Steel Division, and then on the next one you play a super small one. And then in battle, another big advantage is 0 cost units for support units like the 30mm grenade launcher, so that these units, who in Steel Division often don't get used in the campaign, get some usage here. Like support weapons in Steel Division, as they also cost 1, you just often end up not using. Here, you get them as an extra asset. You still will lose them, so they still have value. If they die, you want to keep them alive. Plus, they give fresh formations a little bit of extra oomph over already depleted units. And then another major system is the morale system, which is a cool extra win condition that also fits Army General really well. And that if your units take too many losses, the morale will be broken, and then the enemy, then your units, you will get a loss, even though you got capture points. Whilst in Steel Division, as we already talked about, the maps are all pretty much the same. You already know them from ranked, you already know them from multiplayer if you play that first. And also they are, in the skirmish, often unfair. The defender doesn't have an advantage on the skirmish ones, but so it often doesn't feel like you're really the defender there. And even the breakthrough, cool idea, but really bad implementation, as you have to. You don't have much depth in your defense there either. You usually hold the first line, because if you lose too many flags there, you also start losing, and it's less than half of the flags that you need to lose. So you have to be really aggressive, even as a defender there as well. Whilst in WARNO, you really can play for the morale. You can play for the points, and you have some decisions there to be made. Plus, the morale system also allows for less decisive battles, as units don't get broken immediately when they lose one battle, which in Steel Division happens after one fight. Units are immediately disorganized. In WARNO, it depends on how the battle went, how much fatigue each formation gets. Even the attacker can get fatigue, so that is a big improvement there as well. And then let's get to the last one. And the last point are the decisions that you can make within the campaigns, which are really nice choices to give you replayability, to make you feel like you are in command, and you have some difference to be made, plus also giving you more options when fighting in versus multiplayer, so that the enemy doesn't quite know what you will bring, that you also don't quite know what the enemy will bring. The AI does pick differently each gameplay as well, so you might end up against different options here as well. And they play quite differently as well. Like, if you take the artillery here, for example, they are quite the difference to the recon one, which has a lot of Leopard 1A1s, and there's a lot of other options. They can push that concept a lot further, and yeah, this is one of the most normal ones, with 2 ground units coming in, but there are some other choices that you will have in this campaign already, which are quite nice, and then in the bigger campaigns, they can push that concept even further. So compared to Steel Division's reinforcement system where you buy reinforcements, it's a lot easier. You don't have to make the math all the time. You still have reinforcements here coming in, but they come just cleanly at the turn you get them, and then you bring them in. You don't have to do that math, and the choices are a lot more distinct than the Steel Division reinforcements, which usually got all of them, kinda, or all the good ones anyway. Here you have to make active choices. It's a way better system, and as I said, it can be implemented with other gameplay mechanics and so on as well, which brings me to the last point. Things that I think the Army General could still use to get even better. First thing first would be a bit more interaction on the campaign map itself. Some recon systems, electronic warfare systems to maybe jam enemy units, some way to slow enemy units down maybe. AA does function like in Steel Division, where you have a circle around you. If seed planes are on the battlefield, they can fly through it. Everything else has to make a check if they can make it through the AA umbrella, and often they don't. But some other options here would be great. Some more options for planes or so on to be made on the campaign map. Maybe digging in to some extent as well. It will never be like Breakthrough and Steel Division, but something in that regard would be nice. And then another thing that would be good would be a deeper fatigue mechanic. The fatigue mechanic is already an improvement of the over the Steel Division system, where you get instantly disheartened, but it's still only a campaign game mechanic, and I would like to have for it to have some implications, maybe on morale or on your income or so in battle. A bit more depth in that mechanic would be nice as well. Morale already gets impacted by losses. You have a bit fewer morale points if your unit is not at full strength, which is a nice thing, but a bit more there would be nice as well. And yeah, that are the things that I would like. Some special forces for ambushes would be maybe nice as well. Let me know what you would like to see in the Army General campaigns, which kind of mechanics you would like to see added. Let me know down below. I'm really interested to see more ideas here, and yeah, most likely Eugen is going to read that as well. So if you have some good ideas, put them down there. With that said, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye, and have a great day.